What's up, guys? Matt Brown here for thelines.com, playpicks.com. Going to talk about UFC 250 going down right down the street here in Las Vegas over at the UFC Apex Center. But before we get started, subscribe to this channel. Give us a thumbs up. Let us know in the comments what you think. Do you have any bets going down on the event this Saturday? Please let us know. But we're going to give you our three best bets and what we see is probably the best way we can make some money on this card right here, guys. Now, remember, over at the UFC Apex, they have that 25-foot cage as opposed to the big 30-foot cage. So just keep that in mind as you are going about handicapping this whole event. The smaller cage forces more action, less places to run. So just think about that whenever you're breaking down these fights as well. We certainly did, and certainly something that we'll talk about as we start to break down these fights. You can see right here on the lines, if you want to take a look at how some of these fights and how the breakdown is going to go, you can take a look at that. And over at PlayPicks as well, there's DFS advice. There's a millionaire maker on DraftKings this week. So yes, $1 million to first place in a MMA DFS contest is going down as well. So some advice over at PlayPicks as well. But let's head over here to DraftKings and let's start talking about where we want to bet this thing. First bet we're going to make here, I like Chase Hooper to beat Alex Caceres. We're going to find that as we continue to scroll down right here. So you can see Hooper's 190 here on DraftKings if you're looking to bet him anywhere else. Worst price over here on FanDuel is it sits at 198. Over here at BetMGM, if we want to take a look at this fight right there, it's 200. So the best place you're going to get him as we sit right now, sitting at 190 over at DraftKings. Look, Hooper, one of the very brightest stars in the UFC right now, young, rising prospect here, might actually be at a, let's call it at least a push, maybe a slight disadvantage to Caceres with this fight if it should stay on the feet. But look, he's going to get this fight down to the ground as soon as humanly possible, where he has a massive, massive advantage over Caceres. And listen, it might take a little bit to get him down, but look, Caceres 5-7 in his last 12 fights, and he only has one TKO win since 2010, guys. So over 10 years here, we're talking about that Caceres only has one TKO win. So even if Hooper's not able to get this fight to the ground immediately, and he is having to stand up and trade, we're not really worried about Caceres knocking him out. We're not really worried about that. So that's why I really do like Hooper in this one. So Hooper looks like our best price is going to be over here at DraftKings at -190 on Hooper. The second fight we're going to be looking to bet here, Cody Garbrandt and Raphael Assunção. Now, it's going to be your co-main event on the card this evening, on Saturday evening. You can see the odds here. Garbrandt -148, 120 on the comeback over here on Assunção whenever we're talking about DraftKings. If you look over here on FanDuel, Assunção gets you a +122 comeback over here. And over here at BetMGM, you can find 139 and 115 here for Garbrandt and Assunção. So look, win or lose, 8 of Raphael Assunção's last 10 fights have gone to decision, right? They have gone the distance here. Now let's take a look over, and this is one of the things you can do at DraftKings. Very easy. See, it'll say fight lines, winning method, round betting. It'll also say total rounds, and then to go the distance. You can just bet yes or no, whether the fight's going to go the distance or not. Coming down here, this is one of my favorite bets on the card, is getting even money on the yes of this fight going the distance. Guys, listen, like I said, Assunção, 8 of his last 10 fights have gone the distance. Garbrandt, it's his first fight here since March of 2019. He's lost his last 3 fights, and not only has he lost his last 3 fights, he's lost his last 3 fights by TKO. So when you look at a guy like this coming in here, trying to kind of get back into the picture, trying to get back in the mix, my feeling here is Garbrandt is going to fight much more cautiously in this fight. If he fights more cautiously and he's fighting a guy who is decision prone as it is anyway, Raphael just has not, since he's transitioned over into the UFC, has just not been a finisher. And that's fine. You win fights, you win fights. You still get double your money, but he's just not a finisher. And so in this one, I expect Garbrandt to be much, much, much more controlled in this one, much more cautious. Assunção lends to that type of fight anyway. Give me the even money on the yes for this fight to go the distance. Our third bet that we have in the account is going to be a parlay bet. And guys, you know, in football, basketball, baseball, you hear me all the time on this channel say, listen, avoid parlays. They're not great bets all the time. Most of the time you get yourself in trouble betting parlays. But with fights, a little bit of a different story because it allows you to bet on these heavy favorites and still get some exposure and some action to these people. And so that's kind of what we're going to get going on right here, because we're going to look at the main event here in this one, and we're going to look towards Amanda Nunes. Now, listen, this is the greatest women's MMA fighter of all time. That is why you are looking at minus 625 over here on DraftKings. You're like, oh my God, we got to be able to find a better price than that. Well, you're actually not. Whenever you head over here and you take a look over on FanDuel, 750, as you see on your screen right there. Yeah, 750, 625 over here over on BetMGM. So getting the same odds as you're getting over on DraftKings. But we're going to roll a parlay together here on this one on some big favorites. So we're going to start with Amanda Nunes, greatest female MMA fighter of all time. She will not lose this fight. Should be pretty, actually not a sweat at all, I think, in this one for you. So where's the next one? Sean O'Malley. We are going to take O'Malley here, and we're going to take him at 500. So now we've parlayed these two together. Listen, Sean O'Malley, better fighter than Eddie Wineland in every single aspect of MMA in 2020. Eddie Wineland getting up there in age. O'Malley should win this fight no matter where this thing goes. Stays on the feet, he should win. If it goes to the ground, should win. No problem whatsoever. I do actually like a finish in this one as well. I would kind of take the under on will this one go the distance. I would go a no. I would also maybe a little small play on O'Malley to finish this thing, but certainly like O'Malley at 500 as well. So you can see once we parlay those two together, our odds are down to 265. And then we are going to head to our last fight, Cody Stamann at 275 over Brian Kelleher. And now listen, here's the thing. Kelleher fought just a couple of weeks ago, May the 13th, over at those cards that were going on in Florida. He just now fight. He did win that fight by KO. I mean, he did win that fight by knockout, but quick turnaround here. Stamann is just really incredible advantage on the ground in this fight. And that's where I expect this thing to go. It's probably a push on the feet. He certainly is not at a disadvantage at all to Kelleher on the feet, but huge advantage on the ground. I see Stamann grinding this thing. It might not be the most enjoyable fight to watch. Probably won't be jumping up and down about this one. Might be a little on the boring side even, but definitely like him to grind this thing on the ground and grind out a probably pretty boring win here. Also kind of like this one to go the distance as well, but that's just kind of not an official stance on this one. But once we put these three together, you can see now we're only paying $112 here on the juice. That means, of course, we're betting $112 to win 100, but we're getting exposure to these three really massive favorites in this one that I really do like. Every single one of these fighters to win on Saturday night. So that's our three here. We're going to go with that parlay. We're going to take Garbrandt and Assunção to go the distance. We're also going to take Chase Hooper over Alex Caceres. If you are one of the new bettors joining us over in Colorado, be sure and sign up at the lines for an account, because when you do that, head over to the lines in Colorado, you're going to get Amanda Nunes at plus 500 in this one. They're doing a crazy bonus. Now it's going to be a small max bet on that, but still you're taking a fighter from minus 600 up to plus 500. No brainer here. Lots of boosts and bonuses and all kinds of stuff going out there in the across the industry, guys, for this fight card, because look, no other sports going on. They understand. They want to get people involved. They want to make you want to bet on MMA, UFC if you've never done that before. So be sure, head to the lines, check out all the bonuses that are going on. They're going to be at all the sports books. So if you need an account, be sure and go and head and do that. Like this page, go ahead and give us a subscription, and then let us know in those comments what's made your card so far. What fight are you betting? Is there anything I missed here? Are you on the other side of anything that I'm going at? Certainly would love to hear your opinion. Good luck on Saturday, fellas.